You sit in the cockpit of an AH-64 Apache during a routine night training flight over the Arizona desert, running through the final systems checks as your co-pilot gunner calls out the checklist from the front seat. At 26, you are a Chief Warrant Officer 2, fresh out of advanced Apache qualification after flight school and your first tour with a regular attack battalion. The ordinary life is this cycle: simulator hours, range qualifications, weekend drills, the steady rhythm of garrison duty that lets you call your wife back in Texas most evenings and send money home to your parents. You are competent behind the controls, trusted with the longbow radar and Hellfire missiles, but still just another pilot in the squadron, good enough for standard missions. Not yet carrying the weight of national level operations. The high stakes event detonates at 2317 when your secure sat phone buzzes with an unscheduled call from higher headquarters. A voice you do not recognize delivers the brief. A critical Iranian nuclear site near Tehran has accelerated enrichment. Intelligence confirms they are days from a breakout capability that could destabilize the entire region. A stealth strike package is green-lit. Your aircraft is selected for the deep penetration Apache element due to your proven low-level terrain-following proficiency. Report immediately. This is a no-fail mission. Refuse, and the slot goes to the next qualified pilot. Accept, and you step into the most sensitive operation of your career. The moral tension coils instantly. Refuse, and you stay safe in the known world of training rotations while the threat grows. Accept, and you fly into one of the most heavily defended airspaces on Earth, with rules of engagement that leave no room for error and consequences that could ignite a wider war. You think of your wife's last message asking when you'll be home, of the world your future children might inherit if this threat is not neutralized. You answer without hesitation, I'm in. When do we brief? The voice replies, you are no longer flying standard attack missions. You are now part of the stealth strike element over Tehran. Wheels up in 4 hours. The ordinary training flight ends that night. You become the Apache pilot tasked with the impossible, a stealthy, low-level strike deep inside hostile territory. The mission briefing is terse and final. Your Apache, heavily modified with radar-absorbent materials and advanced electronic warfare suites, will penetrate Iranian air defenses at nap-of-the-earth altitude, using terrain masking and the longbow fire control radar to deliver precision Hellfires and 30mm chain gun fire on key air defense nodes and the enrichment facility itself. You will fly as co-pilot, gunner initially, with a senior pilot in command. The package includes F-35S for initial suppression, but the Apache element must get in close for the terminal phase because only you can loiter, reacquire, and finish the job in contested airspace. Small decisions start compounding immediately. You choose to prioritize terrain following radar calibration over extra fuel, knowing every pound matters for the long ingress. The moral weight settles as you sign the final paperwork. This strike could save thousands of lives downstream, but will almost certainly kill technicians and guards at the site. You push the thought down, because hesitation in the cockpit means mission failure. And failure here means strategic catastrophe. The operation begins with your first real strike as a junior CW2 co-pilot gunner. You fly low through mountain passes, the Apache hugging the ground at 50 feet while the pilot handles navigation. Iranian radar sweeps overhead, but your electronic countermeasures and the aircraft's stealth coatings keep you invisible. When the first SAM site appears on the longbow display, you make the call. 2 Hellfires ripple off the rails. The explosions light the night, neutralizing the threat. You press forward, acquiring secondary targets with the 30mm cannon, short, precise bursts. The mission succeeds, the facility takes critical damage, but during egress, a lucky burst of anti-aircraft fire damages your tail rotor. You auto-rotate into a narrow valley, set down hard, and extract under fire from a quick reaction force. The decision to stay low and finish the targets instead of aborting early saves the broader package, but nearly costs your aircraft. Back at the forward staging base, the debrief praises your precision, but the senior pilot notes your hesitation on the final cannon run when civilian workers appeared on the thermal. In this business, second guessing gets everyone killed. The lesson burns into you. Promotion to Chief Warrant Officer, 3 follows soon after. You move to the back seat as pilot in command on the next rotation. As a CW3 pilot in command, the stakes escalate. You now lead your own two-ship element on follow-on strikes against Iranian proxy infrastructure. You spend weeks planning ingress routes, choosing waypoints that maximize terrain masking while minimizing exposure to layered SAM systems. During one deep strike near Tehran, you decide to deviate from the briefed path by 12 kilometers to avoid a newly detected mobile radar. The call works, you reach the target undetected, but it burns extra fuel and forces a tighter egress window. You engage with Hellfires on a command bunker, then use the chain gun to suppress ground forces. A small decision to hold fire on a vehicle that might have been civilian compounds later, when intelligence reveals it carried reinforcements that nearly trapped the package. The moral ledger tilts again. You protected your wingman, but risked the larger mission. Your reputation grows as the pilot who delivers results under pressure. You mentor junior co-pilots, teaching them that the Apache's strength is not raw firepower, but the pilot's judgment in the seconds that decide life or death. Years compound. You pin on Chief Warrant Officer 4 and become a flight lead responsible for 4 Apaches. You plan entire strike packages, integrating with fixed-wing assets and special operations teams on the ground. In one high-tension operation, you authorize a low-level run through downtown Tehran suburbs to take out a mobile missile launcher threatening the extraction route. You choose to lead from the front aircraft, accepting the highest risk so your less experienced pilots can focus on weapons delivery. The strike succeeds, but an Iranian fighter scrambles and forces a dogfight at low altitude. You use the Apache's agility and your gunner's precision to damage the fighter enough to force it off, then extract under heavy fire. The decision to prioritize the ground target over immediate self-defense saves the mission but costs 1 Apache damaged beyond repair. You write the after-action report, knowing the lost aircraft and near loss of crew will be scrutinized at the highest levels. Promotion to Chief Warrant Officer 5 comes with the acknowledgement that you are now one of the most experienced Apache pilots in the force. As a CW5, you transition into a senior instructor and planner role while still flying the toughest missions. You advise on stealth modifications, electronic warfare tactics, and rules of engagement that balance military necessity with minimizing collateral damage. During a major escalation, you lead a squadron-size element in a coordinated strike on multiple sites around Tehran. You make the call to delay the main assault by 47 minutes based on real-time intelligence showing civilian movement near one target. The delay allows precision retargeting and saves dozens of non-combatant lives, but it increases exposure time and leads to the loss of 1 aircraft to a lucky surface-to-air missile. You carry the names of the crew in your mind during every subsequent briefing. The power you now wield is immense. Your recommendations influence whether entire strike packages launch, which targets are prioritized, and how much risk the nation is willing to accept. Yet the isolation grows. Your family has long since adapted to your absences, but the secrecy means you can never share the weight you carry. You eventually receive a direct commission and rise through the commissioned ranks as an aviator leader. As a captain, then major, you command attack helicopter companies and battalions. You brief generals on risk assessments, arguing for or against strikes based on fuel margins, weather windows, threat density, and the human cost on both sides. In one pivotal operation, you overrule a more aggressive plan from higher headquarters, insisting on additional standoff weapons and a revised ingress to reduce exposure. The adjusted strike still achieves its objectives, but with lower losses. The moral complexity deepens. You hold the lives of your pilots, the success of the mission, and the strategic consequences for international relations in your hands. Each small decision, choosing Hellfire over rockets, authorizing cannon fire near populated areas, or aborting when the risk-to-reward ratio shifts, compounds into outcomes measured in lives and geopolitical stability. As a lieutenant colonel and later colonel, you command aviation task forces responsible for entire theaters of stealth operations. You sit in secure briefing rooms, reviewing satellite feeds and deciding which Apache elements penetrate deepest into denied airspace. You green-light missions that could prevent nuclear breakout but carry the real possibility of sparking open conflict. You have flown every seat, commanded every level, mentored dozens of pilots who now fly the missions you once led. You have lost friends to mechanical failure, enemy fire, and the cumulative stress of living on the edge. Your own body carries scars from hard landings and the invisible weight of decisions that can never be undone. The ordinary life you left in that training cockpit years ago is a distant memory. The family you protect through these operations barely knows the man who returns home between missions. Tonight you sit in the operations center reviewing the latest intelligence package for another potential strike near Tehran. New enrichment activity has been detected. The red folder lies open on the table. You weigh the variables once more. Threat density, weather, political windows, the human cost on the ground, the strategic necessity. Every rank you have held has taught you the same unforgiving truth. The Apache is only as effective as the judgment of the pilot behind the controls. You close the folder and sign the execution order. The mission continues. The stakes never diminish. And you, who once flew routine training runs, now carry the accumulated risk of every decision that has kept the line intact. The weight remains. So do you. If this story made your pulse race and gave you a glimpse into the immense responsibility shouldered by those who fly the most demanding missions, then you belong with stories like these. Hit subscribe right now on Shadow POV. We bring you long-form, immersive stories from the point of view of those who live at the extreme edge. Apache pilots on stealth strikes, special forces operators, jungle hunters, and the men and women who make choices the rest of the world never sees. Turn on notifications, drop a like, and comment below. I fly with the Apache. The next mission is already loading. The sky keeps calling. Will you answer? Subscribe to Shadow POV now. The next takeoff is coming soon.